Welcome to Hey Sis. Make sure you tag your friends, share on your page, let everybody know they need to join this conversation. Ladies, you excited this evening?
Now I am.
Yeah. We were dealing with technology, y'all. Y'all know how technology is. We were timely. Technology was not.
It was not.
But yes, well, since we've had a couple of moments, I just want to take a moment to welcome you all to our second episode of Hey Sis.
Hey, sis.
Hey Sis. Yes. And tonight we are going to take a deep dive into mental health. And hey sis, I'm stressed. Hey sis, I'm depressed. Hey sis, I'm feeling some type of way. Just hey sis. But before we get into our topic tonight, of course, we need to introduce our lovely group of panelists. And we're going to start with Dr. Lakedra Brown, even though I just said your name. If you can please say your name and just tell everybody what you do, what your expertise is, and then we're just going to go around the room until everyone is introduced.
Absolutely. Dr. L here. Hope you watched the last episode and you'll be already knowing this, but okay, but just in case. Dr. L here, and I am a LPC. I do specialize in mental health as well as other things, life coaching, things of that sort. You can catch me on my YouTube channel at Dr. L and Epiphany 516 and all that good stuff, and gotcha.
All right. Yes, thank you.
Okay, well, I'm Crystal Jordan. I am an outreach coordinator for a kidney practice for Fort Worth Renal Group. But I'm also a licensed real estate agent and interior designer. So I'm the jack of all trades.
Yeah. All right. I love it.
Well, I'm Vicki. I'm an office manager at the Children's Hospital here in Fort Worth that cooks. I have to deal with those doctors.
Yes. They all need counseling.
We love them, and they do all need counseling. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks, Kelly.
Oh, wow. I'm Nana, Nana's Kitchen in Fort Worth, #1 soul food in the state of Texas. I'm excited to be here, second time. Thank you, Kelly.
Yeah.
I'm Lanisha Renee Creeks. I'm a licensed professional counselor. I'm a neuro coach. I'm an author of The Journey to Be Fly, and I'm so glad to be here.
And you're what?
I'm a few things.
I can go back over it. She's a singer.
I am a singer.
singer.
I mean, I didn't want to bombard the people with everything, but if you must know, I am a singer-songwriter, and I did release my first single entitled "Can't Deny This Love" on YouTube at Lanisha Renee, but we'll get into it. All right.
I'm LaWanda Peoples, and I am a professional event manager and coordinator. As a matter of fact, I am Kelly's professional event manager for all of their events, their major events. And I'm excited to be here, too. This is my first time participating, so looking forward to it.
All right.
Who are you?
Hi, I'm Yolanda Hawkins with DLT and Company, and I provide the ladies, the panels, the wine tonight.
Yes. You got it. Shout out.
I'm going to have to say
Come on, tell us who you are.
I'm Lisa. Hi, everyone.
Everyone. I am Governor Pretty Allen, and I am so honored to meet every one of you. I appreciate you all being here. Myself, delicious ice cream and coffee.
So cute in here. Oh my God.
And of course, we need to hear from our wonderful host, Miss Kelly Allen Gray.
That's
Hey,
Stacey.
sis.
So good. Hey. So listen, I want to, first of all, just say thank you to all of you. A huge shout out to Lisa, who allowed me to just come and take over her shop after hours, after she had been here all day long. What Lisa did not tell you, but what I would like for you all to know, is that Lisa's ice cream and coffee shop was impacted by the explosion that was downtown earlier this year. She's been here since June, and we didn't know she was here until she was on the news. So Facebook land, I'm asking you to come downtown. If you don't come downtown, please come downtown. We have 3 great coffee places in Fort Worth that are African American owned, and we should be supporting all of them. And so La Cremion is located at 215 West 8th Street between Throckmorton and Houston. So come get a parking space. Come patronize Lisa. Thank you again, Lisa, for being here. And then I just want to give a shout out, yes, to everybody who makes this production possible. For those of you who see the ladies in the red t-shirts, they are brought to you by Static Tees, Kelly Smith, and then 88 Designs did the t-shirts for today. You met Yolanda from BLT Mobile Bar. Tasha from Nana's Kitchen provided us with dinner tonight, but we haven't had dinner, so we might be grumpy. Adrienne Carroll with Adrienne Carroll Photography and Videography is here tonight videoing. Makia is here from OCG in the background. And then my son came from Denton to make sure that we got everything going. So shout out to Rylan. And our girl Shelby is on vacation, but Shelby, we made it and we got it going on. So yes, so I think that's all of my shout outs. And so stay, I'm turning it back over to you so we can get this party started.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Kelly, for everything. And what Kelly has created here for us is a safe space for women of Tarrant County to be able to come together and talk about a plethora of different topics. And so I want everyone out there who's watching to know that you are included. So please feel free to drop your comments, your questions, because I will actively be watching the chat. And we will make sure that those things are addressed. As you heard in the introductions, we have a couple of mental health professionals in here who will be able to probably take a deeper dive than some of us, but we just gonna share our own crazy and our own whatever we got going on candidly, transparently, and openly. And so what I would like to do this time, because ladies, feel free to just jump in, you know, when the spirit hits you, as they say. We don't have to necessarily raise hands. We want to be respectful of everybody, but we want this to be a candid conversation. But because I know Dr. L and her profession, I'm going to start with her and then everybody else just jump in. But what I would like for her to talk about first and foremost is just give us a general understanding of what mental health really is. And then we'll just kind of go from there. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Sure. All right, it's on you.
There's always the Webster Dictionary, but just to put it in layman's terms, mental health is something that I'm going to say that we, first of all, do not pay enough close attention to.
Right.
It is basically how we operate in everyday society. You know, your mental is what you need even to wake up and get out the bed in the morning. So when I think of what mental health is, it is what I need to continue to start, to push forward, to even begin to think for that day when I think about mental health. You know, we can go down and say all the fancy words, but it's just something that we just need to move, you know, to even begin our day. Don't you think so, Liz?
I agree.
Okay.
Absolutely. When you think about your mental clarity,
Ooh.
you need it to function.
Yes.
So yeah, it's paramount.
Yeah. Because, you know, I feel like that we take it for granted. You know, we gonna wake up in the morning, we're gonna, you know, start our day and things like that. But there are some people that I know that I have personally counseled that cannot even, when they go to sleep at night, sometimes they wish they didn't even wake up because they are so broken. They feel like they just have nothing else. And that tells me where their mental health is. You know, it is not where it needs to be. Everybody is different, of course. So what I may need, hitting the mics, what I may need to get my day started and to move and be proactive someone else may not need that. They might like, hey, the birds is chirping. Let's wake up. Other people, people might say the birds is chirping. I don't hear them damn birds. I mean, just really, this is where they are in their life. So it is very individual, but we need to start what is healthy for that person.
Okay, well, Dr. L, I have a question, and for you or Lanisha or whomever else, just want to jump in. One of the things that we always say is, and I'm just talking about Black women, I'm not talking about anybody else.
Right.
We as Black women, we don't always believe we need help. And so, or our help always comes from the Lord.
Yeah.
I'm going to pray and I'm going to give it to the Lord, but I never really give it to the Lord. I keep picking it back up. And so because I keep picking it back up, he can't fix it anyway. And so we say, okay, but I prayed about it, but it didn't change. And so the other day we were having the conversation and we were saying, the scripture, faith without works is dead.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's how I feel about like my mental health. My faith says, okay, I'm going to pray about it, but my work is I need somebody to help me through it. I need the physical piece. And so as Black women, we put that S on our chest. And we just keep moving and we keep moving, and we don't believe that we can be weak or we can be vulnerable or we can cry because we've been taught not to.
Yeah.
So how do we change that narrative?
I would say one thing that you mentioned, because one thing we do is tap into a person's support system. It may be your family, it may be your friends that you can speak to or talk to. That includes your faith-based, church, right? There's stigma there, like you said, pray about it. They say hang on in there and hold on, all those gospel cliches, but that doesn't tell you what to do or what steps to take or how to do that. Even when we pray about it, we say leave it on the altar. How? What does that look like? What does that mean? So, counseling is important. To go to a professional. We even have pastors who are leaving us by choice. They're taking their own lives because sometimes they don't even have the answer. But the word says there is safety in a multitude of counselors.
Yeah.
And so, we can start by taking the whole word into account and not just one piece.
Yeah.
Well, we have a comment here that says, and this is from Shagronda Traveler, we are afraid that if we share, we will become the topic of conversation after the fact. And I think that that's something that plagues a lot of people. They don't want to say that they're struggling in any way, shape, or form because they feel like it'll be looked at as a sign of weakness, and then people, the rumor mills will start. Because I remember even myself as a young child hearing my mother speak about somebody being depressed, and they would actually whisper it, she been depressed, as if it was something of shame. And so what is it that we can do to move that needle to help the people that are having those issues or feel like I don't want to use the word depressed or people are going to think I'm crazy? And what does crazy even mean? I think that's a word that gets thrown around way too often. But what does anybody feel like we can do just to move that needle where we can come out and ask for that help without that fear of ridicule or being ashamed?
One of the things that we as Black women have to learn how to do is trust. And I think that's where a lot of our problem comes in. We have a serious trust issue.
Yes.
And until we can learn that everybody is not out to get you in your circle, and if they are, you need to change circles.
That's not your circle, right?
But to start with, you really have to surround yourself with people that you can trust.
Yeah.
And once you get that, then the conversation flows to me. And I'm so blessed and so fortunate, but I've been intentional about that too. I just don't, just because you are an associate doesn't mean we're friends.
Yes.
So I'm very intentional, but I really think that that's a good part of the problem is trust.
I believe, though, trust starts when you're younger. And I know for me, growing up in an African-American household, you don't talk about your business outside of this household. And so that was instilled in me as a little girl. And so as I got older, I don't feel comfortable saying, not even to my family, some things of what I have going on. I was a teenage mom. And so being a teenage mom, I got ridiculed from the church. I got ridiculed from my family. I got ridiculed from a lot of outside entities. So that trust that even when you try to build that, so when you're younger and you already know, like, don't talk about your business, then when it's public, you can't hide being pregnant, regardless of how much you try. And then you get the ridicule from people that you love, people that you admire, people that you feel like shouldn't judge you. So now that as you get older in the world, it's hard to, really start bringing that trust factor and start trying to gain that trust factor because it's been broken for so long. And so I think that for me, counseling has been really, really effective. But what happened was I had to go back to being that little girl when that trust first got broken, and then start rebuilding from that point. And I believe that that's what we really don't do. We don't go back to those trauma days. We don't go back to that little kid that we're still trying to build those walls and protect around. We try to act upon where we're at now. And unfortunately, the walls are going to eventually have to come down. So
I agree with both what both of you all said. Like she said, it does start with trust. And like you said, and a lot of times the trust is broken as a young child. And what people that should know that as professionals, we are under a code of ethics. And we're not about to lose our license out here talking about nobody's business. We worked hard. It costs a lot of money. No, and it's not worth it. And the thing is, when you go into this profession, I should think, because you really do have a heart for people, and they need some type of help. And really, I feel like everybody needs to be in counseling. I learned when I was going through school that every good counselor has a counselor. And when one of my friends, who is also a counselor, she said it very well. We were in a training a couple of weeks ago, a retreat, and she said we go to the doctor when we're not feeling well. We go take our cars to get their little checkup. We go and get our teeth clean and things of that sort, but we don't go and get our minds, just regulated and just let it all out. Because sometimes it's not that you really going through any trauma. It could just be life is just heavy. And you don't even understand it until it starts showing up in your body, and now it's like, whoa. And now people are using that word. She crazy. She just snapping on everybody, But no, she's not crazy. It's just like, she just needs to be like, rejuvenated, regulated. Let some of that stuff out. And yes, pray about it. When I say pray about it, I mean, pray about those people that are coming to our circle. Pray about, letting go of those trust issues. But God put us in place, just like he put that heart surgeon in place. You're not going to go and see a podiatrist if you have issues with your heart.
Well, my issue, I had someone very near and dear to my heart that pretty much masked all the pain and depression for a long time.
Yeah.
Until one day they said to me, I don't want to be here anymore. And I said, you're 17. What do you mean you don't want to be here anymore? What is that? What are you saying? And we cried together because I couldn't understand it. But at the same time, where do I go for help? Who do you call?
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't find you, and they probably needed somebody who looked like them.
Yeah.
And that was problematic for me because I didn't know how to help. My mother committed suicide, and now here I have a family member that's depressed, and I want to help, but I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
Because I'm what Kelly said, they taught us, you don't cry, you're going to pray about it, it's going to be all right.
Yeah.
And that's what Big Mama said, and that's what we did, and that it was okay.
Yeah.
It was always okay. But when you have a 17-year-old telling you, I don't want to be here anymore, and they mean it, it was difficult. And it has been a journey since then.
Yes.
We're down
10, 12 years later, but still, it's a journey because they mask it so well, you don't ever know what they're capable of because you thought, well, I saw them yesterday, they were doing good.
Yeah.
And then you get a phone call that says, I'm struggling, I'm overwhelmed,
Yes.
and I don't want you to come and save me. I'm like, what do you do with it?
And it is hard because it hasn't been. I think the Black therapists, especially the Black
It's hard
women
to find
therapists,
one. It's hard to find
is.
one. I'm
It
telling you,
is.
I tried. It's hard to find one.
So we definitely need to get those resources out there.
Yeah, so
Because
this is
we out
good
there.
because people can see and they can
Yes.
get your information. So this is really good
Yeah.
because it was a struggle for me and it's still a struggle. So every day I'm like, I always have to listen for the cues, whether they're in that roller coaster, that depression or not. I'm listening for it every day.
Yes.
Every day. So hell, I need counseling now.
Yeah.
But that's true. I want to say this really quick because Tasha, you said something. If you will go to our website and to our Facebook page, ALC.org or at AIDS Outreach Center on Facebook or Instagram, there are listings of resources available to where you can go find counselors, where, suicide prevention hotline. There are all of those resources that are out there. So we may not touch on them today, but just please know that they are posted out there on our website and on our Facebook page.
Yeah, and that's something great for family members to know as well. When you do have a family member, don't try to handle it yourself. You know what I mean? Immediately try to seek out those resources. And I know it can be difficult, but we're not the professionals. And you said it best. You're like, no, I need counseling. And that's the thing. We all need counseling, and we're not equipped to do that. And so, reach out and just try to be as proactive as we can instead of reactive, like those first signs, like don't ignore anything, just, introduce to help. And LaWanda, you had something?
Yeah, I was just going to add, the reality of it is, with the youth now, I mean, that my kids are grown, but that is so heavy on my mind now because these kids are struggling. And how do we help them? I I think it's a bigger issue than a one-off. I mean, we've got a major problem with our youth. And for one to tell you, I don't want to be here anymore, when you think about it, their actions are telling us that a lot of them don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
But
Because
they're serious about it too.
I
They're
know.
so serious
I
about
know, and I get that. So we as a community have got to figure out a way how to get our arms around this problem because it's major. It's major. And that's our next generation.
Yes.
Well, I believe though, I believe that it goes back to how we were raised. Sometimes we don't know how to handle the next generation because we only know what we were taught, what we saw, what we experienced. And so I have children. I have a getting ready to be 22-year-old. I have an 18-year-old. He's graduating this year. And I have a 14-year-old. And I see all the time with their friends, with my nieces and nephews, with just the company that they keep sometimes, that they are struggling. One of my sons wears everything on his shoulders. And so, for instance, he's a senior this year and he's graduating. And I was like, okay, he wanted red bottoms for prom. I'm like, okay, we gonna do red bottoms. Mama extra, we gonna do this. And so he saw how much it costs. Oh, Mama, I don't want you to spend that much money. Don't count my pockets. Don't worry about what I'm doing. This is about you. So it doesn't matter the amount of money that I have to spend. I want to make sure that you're happy. So if this is what you desire, let's do it. And so I think that a lot of times these youth are really having to really internalize different things that we didn't have to. I remember that I never knew if my mama was broke. I didn't know if what was going on. Now, we stayed in the hood. We stayed in Stop 6. We stayed next to my granny house. And I can't say that we struggled because it looked amazing to me. But in this day and time, sometimes I tell my friends sometimes I fault us because I feel like we're trying to raise these children to be better than what we had. And they became entitled spoiled brats that feel like the sun rises and sets on them. And so they don't know about adversity. They don't know what that looks like. They don't know how to handle that. And we have shielded them from so much. And so for me, again, I was a teenage mom. I grew up really fast, but I shielded my children from so much things that I went through with, just in relationships, in life. And they have never seen me struggle. They have never known that if I went to bed hungry just so they can eat. But honestly, they think differently. They act different, and they internalize so differently. And the one caveat that I realize is because we are not used to, kids stressed out. What you got to be stressed out for? Yeah. You ain't got no bills. What you mad for? What? But honestly, we are really saying like, you all right. But honestly, they're saying, no, I'm not. We don't listen. We don't listen to what they're saying. We're not really taking it to heart because that's not how we were raised. That's not how we brought up. You be the kid and let me be the adult. Let me take care of this. I got this.
But Crystal, the other part to that is we didn't have social media.
Right. We didn't have social media.
And the rap music was different.
We was listening to K104, what they would say, I love school. Now they be out here talking about booty shaking and stuff. All in, I'm like, on the way to school, what is happening? So it's just different.
It's 6 o'clock, Greg. It's time to rock.
I think a lot of it is too that the parents now are not much older than the kids. Right. So they can't very well teach them what they don't know.
Yeah.
And so if that's not something they were taught, it's not something they can teach them.
Yeah.
And unfortunately they're trying to be their kids' friends. And so the few parents that are trying to teach those kids are mad, they're rebellious because you don't know what I'm going through. Like, we were never kids. We just came out adults.
Yeah.
And so they don't understand. We just had a different things we were dealing with, but not that different from what they're dealing with now. And so I know one of the things that we're having to do from the medical perspective is when those kids come in, if they're age 12 and up, we now are required to ask these questions, but the parents can't answer the questions. We have to give that paperwork to the child and let that child answer the questions, because mom is going to say, no, nothing's wrong.
Yeah.
They're
So
okay.
what questions,
but
Vic?
it's if they felt like just for example, if they feel like they just don't want to live anymore, is there something that's bothering them that they've never talked to their parents about? Those kind of questions. So they're formulating those questions right now, but it's not for the parent to ask the question, to answer the question. We cannot give it to the parent. It's got to be from the child, because the child is going to be more honest.
Yeah.
And sometimes the parents just don't know, because the child is not talking to them. Because as we were growing up, we didn't either. And I'm a little bit seasoned, and there were probably things that my mom went to her grave not knowing about me, and that's just being really honest.
Yeah.
I recently experienced, though, my medical professional, my doctor, asked me those questions. So that's something that's now, I think, being infused into, which is good.
It is.
Because they want to know today, how are you feeling?
It's almost the first question they ask you when you sit down.
Yeah.
But what happens if you say yes? If you answer yes
Where do you go with
to
it?
any of those questions,
I would hope they have a plan.
I think there is a
I
plan.
would hope they have
I
a plan.
really believe there is a plan.
No,
And
seriously.
it takes on a whole different process if there's a yes
Well,
to any of
doctor,
those
is
questions.
there a plan?
It is, because I have, I'm a part of this thing called ASSIST, and it is suicide prevention. And actually what we do, we teach others, just like you, to be able to go out and assist others who are struggling and maybe contemplating suicide and things like that. And knowing that you don't have to be the savior and, try to make sure that, they're walking like this, but it's a program to help you learn how to keep them safe for now. And that's what it's about. And actually, I'm going to be teaching class next month on this, where, just different organizations come in, different people come in, and the purpose of it is so that it's everybody out there that is trained on suicide prevention, because that is so heavy. And a lot of the doctors were not, so they're coming to the trainings. We do NFL trainings, NBA. I mean, it is huge. So it's not just local. This is worldwide. This program. Yes, yes, military. Because I'm ex-military, and we know that is a high rate. And so that is like my passion is to really work with those who are ex-military, especially because sometimes when they get out, they don't know how to adjust. And it's very different because everything in the military is very structured. And it's not structured in what we call a civilian world. So a lot of times they don't know what to do. It's almost like, I don't want to say being institutionalized, but it is, because our world was, you woke up this morning, you ate 3 times a day at this time you had PT at this time. It was very structured. And when you're out, it's like, I don't like this. It's too much going on. So Assist is a really good program. And I would just encourage everyone to just, read up about it. Like I said, I'm doing a training next month because it is very helpful. And it takes the pressure off the caregiver, like you say, what to do, because it's a program, a path that they follow called PAL. And it's amazing.
And I needed to know that, and I still need to know that, because part of this was going on during COVID, and it was crazy if you needed a doctor during COVID, especially if you needed a therapist during COVID, because then it was all virtual, and so the therapist says, well, I need you to write this and write that, and we're going to talk about it on the next session. So the next session comes, she's opened up about everything. And then it's like, oh, your 60 minutes is over. We'll talk. And how do you're unpacking all this stuff, trusting the therapist. It's COVID, it's virtual, and now the 60 minutes is up, and I'm left with the mess because it's a mess at this point. So now I know I have the wrong therapist, but I have nowhere to go.
And I think what happened at that point, it was a lot of therapists that was not trained to tell her,
and it hurt.
And
it hurt the client
because
it's
very
more.
different.
Yeah, it hurt her even more. You see?
Yeah.
So now it's like I don't even want to go to therapy
because you need to know what to unpack in that period of time, because you know how much time you have, because you have other clients come, and you can't go too deep, especially we're gonna do this, we're gonna cover this, and I don't want to say a good counselor, because they very well could have been. They just did not know how to do a tele counseling session.
COVID was new for everybody.
We never had that training though, because what was virtual before COVID?
I didn't know
what it was.
So
they didn't have that training before to know how to handle that.
It was bad though. It was bad. So now you have a person that is depressed, that needed counseling, that has had that type of experience, who now doesn't care to go to counseling anymore, doesn't trust any counselor. So, but they still have all these issues. And so that's why it goes on for years. And it just doesn't stop, maybe till you meet a Dr. L. But I told you, Tanya was good. She was good, and she's a great listener, and I think that she helped at the point where we really needed help. Tanya, Dr. Cunningham, she was very good.
Oh yes.
She was very good. She's a sweetheart. Okay.
To speak to what you're saying,
Yes,
first
ma'am.
let me say thank you for sharing that.
Oh.
I honor and respect you all's experience. But even with something we were talking about earlier, the stigma that comes with, seeking help and counseling, COVID and the pandemic really busted the door wide open in a lot of ways. Some good and some bad. For one, the mental health industry professionals, we have been asking for, what if some of our in-person clients have transportation issues? Can we do a phone call? Can we do video? So we had actually been trying to make that more comfortable as an option. It was turned down, but when the pandemic happened, all of a sudden, they couldn't get the money. And they said, hey, any way you can get to the people, get to the people. So some people who never would have walked through the office door of the agency got online. And so I do think that's why you felt a shortfall of the training. the same thing happens when people show up in person, because number one, some people don't show up until it's a crisis.
Yes.
And so that's something that we need to work on a little better. We spoke about students in school. I have a background in education, 20 years, I can't believe it. But I've worked with young people. I've worked with, at this point, from age 3 up into high school. I love counseling women. I've had opportunity to do couples as well. But, you know, they're exposed online to celebrities who are now pushing mental health. Even Taraji P. Henson, when she did that campaign and let everybody know, you know. So they, just like we kind of struggle with keeping up with the Joneses, that can affect them online.
Yeah.
But it can be a good thing too, because now we're exposed to more of their counterparts that may not look like us, and having a therapist is cool. Yeah, I mean, they bring it up in casual conversations. What did you do this weekend? Girl, yeah, you know, I had to go check in with my therapist, and then we went shopping. I mean, they're just rallying it off. And our community was not doing that prior to the pandemic. So, you know, there's some pros and some cons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I do think they need to be careful with acting like it's an accessory.
Yeah.
Because now I do feel like, because of the celebrities and how it's been, like, I appreciate them, you know, putting it out there, but it's almost like it's just an accessory. You know, oh, I got my therapist. And it's like, do you really understand that when you come into the office to talk to us, like, what are you letting go? What do you need? Are you getting the help that you need? And, or if this is something that, because it's the thing to do now. And that goes back to social media.
Okay, so
right
I'm going to jump in here.
Yeah.
Because I don't mind anybody knowing that I go to therapy. Actually, my therapist almost tried to fire me. And I had to tell my therapist I wasn't ready to be fired. Don't turn me loose yet. I'm not ready. Don't go. But when I went, I had gone to therapy before, and then the pandemic hit, and I thought, I'm really okay. What I needed at that moment. I was in a good place. I had lost my husband. My son had gone off to college. I was empty nesting. I was still trying to find my way. I had some hurt. I had some anger. I had some, I'm going to kill somebody in me. And I needed to get past that. And I thought I was past that. And then last year, I had this whole other thing that was going on in my life. And I went to therapy. And I started going to therapy again. And it just helped me see all of the stuff that I had agreed to, I should not have agreed to. I learned, and I said this, I think the last time when they said, what would you tell your younger self? And I would say the no is a whole sentence.
Yes.
I learned that in therapy. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I find myself today in a place that has so much peace. But when I talk to my therapist, some days we talk about me, some days we talk about her, and it never intends to go that way. Yeah. But when I leave from that conversation, it's like, okay, I can take on the world tomorrow and the day after and the day after. Yes. But what I did not realize, and this is what I want to talk about, was that I really had anxiety. Oh, wow. I had anxiety, like, oh my gosh, my son is mad at me, my sister is mad at me, this person is mad at me, and you know, how am I going to keep this moving? And everybody is mad at me. And what she said was, so? They mad. You know, they'll be okay. They will be okay. Because you're the one over here stressing, you're struggling, you can't sleep. You know, now my fat ass never lost a pound. I mean, you know, so I wasn't stressing like that. Well, that's because of Fred. But listen, I mean, you know. But yeah, and so, but it was that moment, just that moment of, and she was just talking. Like, okay, lay it on the altar.
Yeah.
And for me, that's who she really kind of became.
Yeah.
Like, okay, she's going to talk me through it
Yeah.
as I talk. So I'm telling everybody in Facebook land, whether you've been to counseling or not, try it. You would be surprised at what you learn about yourself, what you learn about other people who are close to you when somebody else is helping you to dissect it and unpack it. It's the best.
And you don't have to wait until you think you need it.
No.
That's the thing, because oftentimes we wait until we think we need it, and then it's kind of not necessarily too late, but you've gotten yourself in such a hole, it just takes way longer to find your way out of it. And the thing is, you never want to allow yourself to get to the point where you lose hope.
No.
You know, once you lose hope, that's almost a point of no return.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, ladies, we are coming upon the close.
Is it what time is it?
Yes.
We have time. We're here to 8:15.
Look, I know, but I'm going by my run of show here. But no. I'm not saying to close like we're shutting it down. But what I want to do is make sure we transition.
We all get mad at her.
No, right.
We all get mad.
Look, I got a whole timeline here. So no, that's right. That's
We
right.
did.
Started
We
late.
did.
But what I want to make sure that I do is while we're talking about mental health, I want to talk about, us and our journeys and what it is that we do personally as individuals to maintain good mental health and to implement that self-care, because we've talked a lot about therapy and counseling, which is awesome, and we all need that. But most of us are not going to be talking to our therapist and counselor every single day.
Yeah.
And so what is it that we do, if we could just kind of share, what is it that we do in our daily lives to make sure that we keep our mental health at a status where we're not only maintaining, but we're thriving? Because I like to talk about being able to give from your overflow. So that whole keeping your cup full, that's great. But guess what? When your cup is full, soon as somebody takes a sip, it's no longer full. So what is it that you do to keep yourself in that overflow? I just wanted to open up that dialogue.
Let's
Y'all
start
still
with
mad at
Crystal.
me?
start
Y'all
with
still
Crystal.
mad? Don't be mad.
Okay, well,
Okay, hold on, Crystal. Just wait a minute. Come on over here. Get the mic. Get the mic. Real quick. Wait a minute. Lisa gonna jump into this conversation with Crystal.
Yes.
So the question is, what do you do to sort of get through?
Yeah, to just maintain your good mental
What's your
health.
self-care?
Yes.
So when I have to go back for a second, when the explosion happened across the street at the Sandman, and the first time I came back to the shop, I had to pass by the hotel. The hotel looked to me like a war zone. I'm a veteran. And so the hotel looked to me when I was over in Kuwait. There was a barracks that was destroyed by a missile.
Oh, wow.
And when I passed by the Sandman Hotel, it looked just like that, and I was fine. But then I got triggered. I got triggered so bad that I had to go to therapy.
Yeah.
So you ask what do we do to maintain? Therapy is one for sure. And I journal. Journaling is good. And I always make sure I take a moment to just breathe and appreciate life, because that was a constant reminder.
Yeah.
And with the construction, it's a constant reminder that life is precious.
Yeah.
And sometimes people make permanent decisions for things such as suiciding, for things that will pass.
Right.
Yeah. So I keep that in mind.
Yeah, and I love that, because that's the thing, making those permanent decisions on, what I've told people in my coaching, and that's the thing, I'm a coach, I'm not a therapist. I refer people to therapists all day long. I'm not one of those coaches who acts like, I can help. What I help by is saying you need therapy, but the one thing I do always tell them is no matter what's going on right now and today, don't lose hope, because you never know what tomorrow is going to bring. And tomorrow, quite often, could be the answer to all your problems. But you just got to hold on until tomorrow. So, so come on, y'all. What y'all doing to keep that mental health going?
So I'll be transparent. I have had a whirlwind of 2024. and it has hit me like a ton of bricks. I have always been the strong one, and no people, strong people are weak sometimes, and strong people are really, when they say they good, sometimes they're really not good. And everybody thinks because they're strong, they don't need anybody or they don't need anything. And so sometimes I tell people all the time, check on your strong friends. And even when they say they good, pull up on them. So I would say, because I've had a struggle of 2024, and what I'm trying to do daily is find my peace. One of my peace is my niece, goddaughter. And when I talk to her, when I just see her face, it just reminds me of, look how precious she is. She's so innocent, and, she has not been conformed to the world and everything that the world has to, offer, good and bad. And so just seeing her face really just brightens my day. I am getting ready to start journaling. So I'm in counseling. And so one of the things that she told me about doing was journaling, and stop bottling up my feelings and emotions. Because I became the yes girl. The no, I ain't got that. Boundaries, I don't know what happened. But I don't have them. I am exposed to everybody and everything. I am there for everybody. I am a pleaser. I am a fixer. I want to make sure that other people are good. But what happens to me, my cup is empty. And nobody is pouring back into me. So I am trying to learn to pour back into myself so that if no one else ever pours into me, I have just a little bit left that's going to keep me going every day.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to encourage everyone first that often when you go to counseling, it feels like it's getting worse before it gets better because you have to dig and unearth, those things that are hurtful and painful, and really get to the heart and find the real issue, the real trigger point. So I'll share a part of my journey. So I lost my husband. I was a newlywed at 45, and then I literally picked up my whole life, left Texas, moved to Louisiana. We were dating long distance 2.5 years. Then we were married 2.5 years, and then he had a heart issue, and he passed. And I stayed an extra year just to, try to settle. And then I thought, then his mother passed the next year. I said, it's time to go back to Texas. So I came back. So I was there. I had a pandemic marriage. So there was growing pains that whole season. I was able to serve a lot of people together with him. And then as soon as the pandemic was coming to a close, that's when I went through my hard storm and reached out and got grief counseling myself. So I took 6 months off, didn't counsel anyone, and then I came back here. So how do I keep going now? Well, there's a journal that I did write, the Journey to Be Fly. Be Fly is an acronym. B is for believe. When you're dealing with a situation, check what is telling you, the negative messages or negative lessons that you're getting from that. Check it against your real core values, who you were when everything was okay, right? So let's say you're having job stress, as I have gone through myself also, working in education and counseling as well, different supervisors. Let's say you get a negative evaluation and you feel like, this is going downhill. This is my livelihood. This is my name on the line. And I feel like I'm stuck. I'm trapped. I can't go here. How can I get another position if this person's going to give me a negative recommendation, what have you? But, it's just a challenge. You can work through it, especially if you have support. And if you remember who you are, the essence and the core of your true value, your true self, that situation doesn't define you, but it can refine you. Okay, so E is for exhale. We talked about taking deep breaths. You can do box 4 breathing. You inhale on a 4 count, hold it for a 4 count, exhale for a 4 count, and you hold again for a 4 count. So it's inhale, hold, exhale, hold on a 4 count. Exhaling also speaks to your self-care. Remember the things that you love to do that brought you joy. interject just a little bit of that into your day. Sometimes when you're feeling depressed or anxious or stressed or triggered, it's hard, like you say, to get out of bed in the morning. But if you think about what you're grateful for that night before you go to sleep, if you have a morning routine that you rebuild, that's something to look forward to. And so it also speaks to the rest of your self-care. F is for feel. What are you feeling in your emotions? Identify those feelings. Pull up an emotion wheel. Identify them. Sometimes when the kids say, or even adults say, I'm feeling some type of way, our emotions combine for us to feel over 33,000 ways. So literally, just saying I'm happy, sad, angry, mad, that's not enough. You might be in despair. You may be disgruntled. Get the rest of those vocabulary words we don't use every day. And then what are you feeling in your body? See about yourself. Pay attention to the stress in your neck, the pain in your back. Go to the doctor, right? L is for listen. Look at your environment. Listen for distractions, things that are not serving you well. And how can you turn that around? Identify them so you can remove yourself or remove them. And then Y is for yield. Yield to the process. Yeah. So, if you're facing a challenge, if you go through a quick mental check or be fly, oh, something just happened. Did she just come at me the wrong way? That's not true about me. BEFLY. And you can, recover.
Oh, wow. I like
that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Very good.
Awesome.
Yes. I receive all that. All right.
Thank you.
Well, I'll go. I am a retired entrepreneur. So I don't do anything before 10 o'clock in the morning. I don't talk to anybody. I try not to talk to anybody. When I do, it's an emergency. And when I answer the phone, I say, this better be an emergency. But that's one thing. And that I didn't realize how much of an impact that would have on my life when I actually started enforcing that as a practice. And it's really it's been a huge difference maker in my life. And then the other thing is I work out 4 days a week, and I'm diligent about that. Yeah. My trainer is like, if I'm not there, he's calling and say, are you out of town? Because that's the only reason why you can't be here. Otherwise, that really makes a huge difference in my life too, because I don't take my cell phone, and nothing goes with me when I go to see my trainer to work out. And to think that would, the clarity that you get from just focusing on your health, your strength and your mind, and it's amazing. Yeah. And I've always worked out, but it's not been until the past couple of years, because I won't tell you how old I am, but I'm old, and I feel like I could potentially live to be 100 years old, and I want to still be in a way that I don't have to have my children calling me saying, well, get ready to take the keys, and you're going to have to come live with somebody, so I don't want to have those conversations. So
well,
you look amazing.
Amazing. And I want to thank you for allowing me to cross that boundary, because I didn't know the rule until just now, because I surely called you at 9 this morning. and you answered the phone, but I saw you look at me. You said, I don't do anything before 10. I'm like, I just found out. So thank you. Thank you.
Wait a minute, she sends me text messages.
But we ain't supposed to be calling, so we know now. We know. We know, but I appreciate you.
So for me, I do ebooks all the time, late at midnight, 1 in the morning. But I started in December thinking about my health. I had a lot of weight, and I think that was just stress eating. Yeah. So I had a lot of weight. I'm eating on the go. Fry me a pork chop. I'm eating a pork chop every day. But a friend of mine had a medical emergency, a stroke, and it was her weight and everything else. Life was life. And I stopped and said, well, I better look at this. So I made appointments for all my doctors. I got a checkup. Everything was good. And then I researched the weight loss of Moderna. And I did that. And it's been really, really good. But then I started thinking, that's not enough. So I learned to be by myself and talk to myself and think it through. Really, I talk to myself and I'm talking to the Lord and all that. But so recently I was gone for like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe 5 days. And my aunt said, well, why did you go by yourself? I would have went with you. And then I was just grown and I said, because I wanted to be alone.
Yeah.
Thank you, but I needed to be, but it was Mother's Day. I know it was Mother's Day, but I'm always the one with the, the whole traditional, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to do it anymore. I want to take care of my mental health, my physical health, and I'm doing that now. Like, I'm happy when I go into the portal and say, what was the result on that? Okay, now that polyp was negative for all that. Well, thank you, Lord, So it's important, I'm right there at that age. I need to take care of it. I want to be here till 100, I want to enjoy my grandkids because I don't want to be on the walker and the wheelchair and all of that stuff. And we get to choose. We get to make those decisions now. Girl, I just parked down 2 blocks and walked it. And last year I was probably on a walker before I got a knee surgery, So I'm just grateful. I'm grateful, but I am taking care of myself, my mental health. I really am, along with everybody else. But, I'm giving them their stuff, and I'm trying to just take care of my stuff.
Yeah.
And it ain't easy.
So for me, I'm a volunteer. I love to volunteer. That's how Kelly and I got to be such good friends. And I had stopped doing that for a while. And I don't know why I did. I want to say it was COVID. COVID probably played a part in it, but it wasn't all just COVID. And so I was probably a little depressed and didn't want to admit that because, we just don't do that. I've said earlier, I'm a little seasoned, so we just didn't grow up where we talked about that. And so just getting out, I didn't go talk to a counselor, but just getting out, getting back into doing those things that I like to do, which is volunteering. I had to cut some family members off because, you get to the point to where, again, like she said, you're the one that everybody thinks is so strong, and you're always the one, well, let's do this. Okay, y'all, I'll get it planned, so we'll do it. And so at some point, I had to stop doing that. And be okay with not being the planner. And when you call, what are we doing? I'm not sure. Did you make any plans? Because I'm not going to be able to do that. And be okay with it. And I'm okay with that. I like keeping to myself. I'm good with being to myself. So, I feel like I'm better. Again, I didn't go to a counselor and probably should have, but I didn't. But I had to just kind of restart.
Yeah.
And I think when I did, it really worked really well for me. Yeah.
Anybody else want to share their self-care?
I have a porch.
Yes.
My porch is my self-care.
Yes.
If you want to find me, you'll find me on my porch. It will be me, maybe 20 other people if they decide, they want to roll by, or it's just, me and some music and a cigar, maybe a Topo Chico, a glass of wine, some bourbon. I mean, but that is my piece. Just being there. And, LaWanda, Tasha, you talked about working out. I started my trainer last January and I was kind of off and on it, but I was always consistent in going. Just never really committed. Yeah. Like, okay, I really need to do this. And then last August, I decided I was really committing to doing it. So this morning, as I was laying in bed saying, it's raining, I could just send him a text and tell him no. I thought, and he's going to text me right back and be like, I'll see you at 7:15. So let me just go on and roll out of bed. But it is such now a natural part of moving. So that's my piece. And my other thing, because Lakedra, you said this, I am a boy mom. Yeah. I spend a lot of time with my son, and we talk about just all kinds of things that I never really thought I would talk to my child about because my mom didn't talk to me about it. But having that relationship always also brings me joy and peace. So
that's right. Yeah. Yolanda?
Well, I walk. In the first 30 minutes of my walk, I have an affirmation. And I remind myself that I'm in control of my happiness. because sometimes people will make you think they're in control. And I just remind myself I'm deserving of healthy relationships. But whatever's going on with me, I have a 21 day affirmation that I started probably back in, I want to say February, but I still do it every day. I haven't stopped. And so I take that time out to walk just to clear my mind because I'm all over the place. 4 days out of the week, I'm probably in 5 or 6 different states. And sometimes I don't even have a time to have a decent meal. So sometimes just coming home and cooking a meal and playing some music and having a glass of wine, or it may not even be wine, it could just be water because I don't drink enough water. But I just take that time to just always remind myself that I'm in control of who I am.
I will say, Tasha, that taking a trip by yourself is a real difference maker too. I used to do what I used to call tending to my mind trip. And I would go down to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. There's a beach down that I love.
Florida's my, me too. Me too. I love it. But the time away by myself helped me. You know, there was nobody in there to talk to me. I was good. I went to dinner by myself, met other people that were maybe sitting at another table or whatever. And the other thing is, I was afraid to stay gone too long. Like, oh my God, I have to be here. No, I don't have to be here.
Cell phone.
Yeah.
Everybody can reach you.
Yeah.
Or not.
So you know, even, and I'm not patting myself on the back because I think last summer, I literally went for like 14 days away. I went, and not by myself, but I took my grandbaby and my daughter, but I went to Florida and I stayed there a few days. Then I took the ship for like 7 days. And then I came back and I stayed in Florida a few more days, you know, like 14 days. And I was like, well, this is the life. Who would have ever thought I could leave and everything be all right when you know, because we think we have to hold everybody up. And that's just not so anymore.
Well, you know, it's so crazy that y'all say that because my birthday's tomorrow, and and so this is my final 30s, so I'll be 39. And so in my final 30s, I'm going on my own just kind of healing journey. And so one of the things I wanted to do was go on a trip by myself because I have been with somebody, whether it's my kids, it's my husband, my family, forever. I've never been by myself. So I have been like researching different places. Now, I'm a little scary, so I'm like, now hold on. So I'm Googling, I'm looking at reviews. Like, okay, where can I go? Because I love the water. I think the water is so peaceful and just calming to me. So I'm like, okay, California, Florida, which one I'm gonna go to, where I can just walk out the hotel. I don't want to go to restaurants unless it's in the hotel or in the facilities. I want to just be just by myself, just doing nothing. I don't want no agenda, no expectations, anything. Yeah. And so I didn't make it happen before my birthday, but one thing I agreed to myself was after my son graduates next week, in June, I'm going to do this trip by myself, and I'm going to St. Thomas.
All right, awesome. That's it.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm glad because I was like, Florida, California. Well, I couldn't drop it.
Because I was thinking about, like, hey, let me go in the States. Let me go somewhere where, like, if something really was to happen, somebody can get to me.
A U.S. Caribbean.
Yes. So I was like, so then when I thought about the Virgin Islands, and I was like, okay. And so, yeah, so I broke the news to my husband, like, hey.
For real estate.
He was just like, okay.
Yeah, people, they will adjust. Everybody around you will adjust. You, after day 2 or 3, they cool. They know you'll be back when you get back. It's okay.
And everybody will be fine. What we've become is enablers. They're capable of so much more than we give them credit for. And it's really that is something in us that feeds us to make us feel like we got to be there. So they just let us do that. But we really don't have to
So we the
be
problem.
there.
That's what
Right, exactly. Yeah, we're the
Dr.
problem.
L, you didn't tell us what your self-care was.
Oh, yeah, I thought y'all was going to just go on. I was, you know, and the reason this is the thing. I used to my thing was I love massages. So that was the thing. I love to go to the spa. But it's okay, you got to be a little bit more practical because these spas, they prices going up and up and up. So I said, what do you do in between when you not about to go spend that kind of money? And my mind is always thinking, and so I learned how to brain dump, and that really helps me. I would just sit there, and I just whatever's in my mind, it could be so random, and I just write it down, and it became my kind of journaling. And I wrote a journal as well called Epiphany 516, and it's all about it's a spiritual walk with God and on how my day is with God and reading my scripture, and it's not always perfect, and how I can talk to Him as He speaks to me through scripture. And I will bring, it'll be just something stupid like, are you gonna get another car? Gonna go grocery shopping? Well, nope. What time should you go to sleep tonight? I mean, it's just very random. But all of this stuff that's just running in your mind, oh, you need to go get those shoes. Do you really need those shoes? Okay, no, scratch this off. And it gets out, and I'm able to sleep. Because I find and I'm going to say sleep but rest. Because I will go to sleep, but I will not be rested. Because my brain is constantly. So once I started brain dumping and I got it out, it may not make sense to anyone else, but I just it makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Because we don't sleep.
Yeah.
We're always thinking. You do. See, I'm
don't wake up.
We gotta work that. We gotta work up to it.
LaWanda, I sleep too.
Yes.
I sleep too.
I go to sleep, but I don't get any rest. I be waking up tired.
Yeah, because I feel like I found myself where I wake up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, clockwork.
Yes.
And then I might get up, use the restroom or something, and come back, go back to bed, or get some water or something, go back to bed.
You go to sleep?
It depends. Sometimes I literally, social media, bores me out. So I have to scroll to just make my eyes get tired to go back to sleep sometimes. But I wake up sometimes and I'm so restless. I done went to sleep. I went to sleep by 10 o'clock last night. And I'm just ugh. But it's true, your mind, and so anxiety is one of the things. I didn't realize, my counselor said, you have anxiety. I was like, anxiety about what? And she was like, well, you telling me that, when you wake up in the morning, you're restless. Your mind is always going, so sometimes you can't shut your brain off. Yeah. And I was like, oh. Well, tell me something.
And that's what's wrong with me. It was anxiety. I know it was anxiety. And so when you brain dump and you just get it out, it's not going to make sense when you just start everything. It's like a release, And that way, because it's almost feeling like you're going to forget something. And so your mind is like, did I do this? Or when do I need to do this? But when you put it down on paper, you go back, okay, and it's like you work off your list.
Thank y'all so much for sharing. Don't beat me up again, but we really are out of time.
We didn't have any questions from anybody. Nobody wants to ask us no questions this time.
Well, I was, but we don't have any questions. But I want to let you know that we have a couple of comments that I think are awesome. And so Shagranda said, loving this raw, authentic conversation. No is truly a complete sentence. And then we had Kimberly Russell said, not making everyone my ministry, which I think we can do a whole segment on that. And, because one thing that I've learned over my journey in mental health, that my cutoff game is strong. I have no room for toxicity. Yeah, my cutoff game is real strong. And so, because everyone isn't our ministry, but yeah, so those were the comments that we had. People have really been engaged. We got a lot of hearts, thumbs up. And so I thank you, ladies. I just want everybody to remember that Hey Sis is inclusive. This is not any type of membership. This is for whosoever will. We just want to be here to be impactful and inspiring and to be able to share. And I love how intentional you are, Kelly, about getting the right women in the room at the right time.
Are the right women, aren't they?
Absolutely. Just able to share. And for those of you who are out there on social media, thank you as well. And I'm going to turn it over to you, Kelly, for any closing remarks or what you might have.
Man, listen, I love y'all. I'm going to say this. I have the best sister circle. I really and truly do. And you're far and wide and you're varied and your ages are different and all of these things and how I know you, I know you all very differently, but I appreciate you showing up. This is an exciting brainchild for us. We actually, I said this earlier, we received some funding now to do Hey Sis. So we're really excited about that. But whether we received the funding or not, we were going to do it. We knew that we needed to do it. We are having our next episode in July 18th. And we are talking about, the title is Healthy Sexual. And so that covers a broad spectrum of things. And so stay tuned because we are actually going to invite some of the people from our audience who've been watching and following us into the room with us. There will be more of us in that conversation. So just excited. Thank you, Lisa, for allowing us to take over tonight because Lisa has to be back here in the morning at 7:45 to open and start making and start seeing her clients, her customers. I want to leave you all with this. I was kind of looking through something and I ran across this quote and it just reminded me of, actually it touches everything that we said tonight, and it says, to the strong girls, to the hustlers, to the super women, tend your hearts with ruthless care, and most importantly, get some rest.
Yes,
Get some
absolutely.
rest. So we'll see you all in July.
We got one more thing.
We have one more thing.
One more thing. You know, we always have to do like the tough stuff, but we have to give our legal disclaimer.
Let's do our legal disclaimer.
Because we can't have y'all saying Kelly and them said.
Kelly and them
Yes.
did not say.
So we just want to let you know that the information discussed and provided during this live conversation is solely informational and conversational purposes. It was not intended to serve as a replacement for medical or professional advice. If you need medical or professional advice and treatment, please visit Psychology Today and or the American Psychology Association, which is linked in the comments below. So thank y'all. We just needed to let y'all know because Kelly and them just said what we thought. So
that's it. Yes. So raise your glasses. Woo! See y'all in